A call came in from an unknown phone number. Who could it be? Hello. No, hello. It's your son, Kevin. Look, it's fine that you divorced Dad, but you've got to step up and take responsibility as a mom. I mean, I'm already in high school, so I can't keep getting dragged into your drama forever, you know. Huh? What are you talking about? Why are you calling me? As I started to say that, Kevin's voice grew harsh. I'm telling you, you need to pay up my child support and school fees. And you need to do it soon. It's all because of your cheating, and yet you're trying to mooch off Dad for money. You're out of your mind. His words angered me, and I replied to Kevin, "Who is this? I never gave birth to any children." Huh? Are you crazy or something? Or are you trying to avoid paying because you don't want to? Don't play games with me. Kevin probably thinks I'm joking, but surprisingly, I'm being serious. As I said earlier, Kevin isn't my biological son. About 14 years ago from now, I was married to my ex-husband for about 3 years. At the time, our relationship hadn't changed much until then, and I thought we got along relatively well. We often went out together on our days off. After all, my ex-husband was busy with work and was often away on business for about half of the month. I had heard that his sales job involved a lot of business trips even before we got married, so I didn't feel too uneasy about it. But the only thing that seemed strange to me was regarding children. Before we got married, I liked children and talked about wanting to have one soon. Of course, we both had our own plans. Even if I felt it was the right thing to do, it wouldn't work if he didn't feel the same. So I was patient and didn't rush things. But after 3 years of marriage, my ex-husband never mentioned anything about having children. Feeling strange after 3 years had passed, I brought it up. What do you think about having a child now? 3 years have passed, and if we keep waiting, the risks of childbirth will only increase as we get older. Yeah, but I'm busy with work right now. When will you not be busy? You've been saying that all this time, and it's gotten us nowhere. It can't be helped to be busy with work. If you keep saying that, it'll start to sound suspicious whether you're really working or not. What do you mean by that? I haven't done anything wrong. This exchange felt a bit strange. I didn't think my ex-husband was cheating. I just meant that if things continued like this, it would be inevitable to suspect cheating. But for some reason, my ex-husband seemed like he was hiding something. With that in mind, I decided to investigate my ex-husband. I found out the truth about his words and actions, his attitude when I questioned him back then, and what he was actually doing during his business trips. To call it cheating would be too lenient. My husband was leading a double life, half the month with me and the other half with another family. But what shocked me the most was that the other family had a child. That child turned out to be Kevin, who called me just now. Kevin was about 2 years old at the time, still too young to understand. It's fortunate and unfortunate at the same time, but someone is bound to get hurt. So I decided to talk to the other woman. Later, she seemed to have heard about me from my ex-husband as she gave me a slight nod when she saw me. When we first met, I didn't get the impression that she was particularly friendly. Amidst the tension, we quickly got down to business. I talked about everything that concerned me, such as whether it was okay to leave things as they were with my ex-husband leading a double life and whose child Kevin really was. But she didn't bat an eyelid and answered calmly without a hint of remorse. Then she confidently declared that she was Kevin's mother. Although my ex-husband seemed to be keeping it a secret, she didn't seem to be hiding anything at all as she answered. So I ended up feeling a bit pushed down. Finally, I asked her what she planned to do from now on. I'm not going to do anything. I have no intention of changing anything in my life now, and I'm fine with that. But I don't think he's going to have any more children. Why is that? When I told him about my pregnancy with Kevin, he didn't seem particularly thrilled. He said it would have been better if the timing had been different. So I just happened to get pregnant. Otherwise, I don't think he would have wanted to have a child. But he told me he liked children. Doesn't that mean he didn't want to have a child with you? She smiled slightly and said, "That's strange, isn't it? If that were the case, why did I, who didn't want a child that much, give birth while you, who wanted a child, didn't even get pregnant? Can he really say he likes children?" Well, I'm sure he said he liked children, but actually, it was a lie, right? Maybe he thought saying that he liked children would make him more attractive in your eyes. Maybe he just used it as an excuse to flirt with you. I wanted to retort, but I couldn't. I felt like she had hit the nail on the head for some reason, and it seemed like my ex-husband wasn't really thinking about children despite saying otherwise. Given all that, I ended up thinking that what the other woman was saying was right. All I could do was claim damages at most. She showed a relaxed expression, making me feel even more miserable about myself. A few days later, I filled out divorce papers and handed them to my husband, informing him that I would also be seeking damages. He probably heard about me from the other woman. My husband accepted the divorce papers and the damages without asking me any questions. In the end, what was the point of this man marrying me? There was only one thing that bothered me in the end. On the day I packed up and left, I asked my ex-husband why he married me. I wonder why. I'm not really sure either. I really wonder why we got married too. If we didn't even know why we got married, we shouldn't have gotten married in the first place. That's true. If we hadn't, you wouldn't have had to have a divorce on your record. But oh well. You chose to marry me because you liked me, right? Then we can just think of it as both of us making a wrong choice in life. Let's move on to a better life from now on. Thanks for everything up until now. Same to you. I'll pray that I don't choose someone like you in my next life. And so we got divorced. After that, I became single and with a fresh start in mind, changed jobs and moved to a different state. I think approaching everything with a new mindset was a very good experience for me. My ex-husband occasionally contacted me about paperwork, but we never discussed each other's current situations. Maybe he wasn't interested. He had his life and I had my new life. About 10 years passed without keeping in touch. I received an unexpected call from Kevin. I wondered what it could be about, but it turned out he was asking for child support and school fees. Kevin is the child born from my ex-husband's affair. Naturally, I have no obligation to pay. I tried to tell him that, but he wouldn't listen at all. Don't you feel ashamed as a mother? If that's the case, then don't have any children. It was getting on my nerves to be told the same thing over and over again. But if I got angry, he probably wouldn't listen to anything else. So I had no choice but to wait for him to calm down a bit. A few minutes later, I was finally able to broach the subject. Can I talk for a moment? There are a few things I'd like to confirm. How did you manage to get my number? It's obvious. I got it from Dad. Our family hasn't been so well off lately, and it seemed weird. Eventually, we couldn't afford it anymore, tuition and all that. Thanks to that, I had to start working part-time. Dad said it was all your fault, so I heard various things about you, Mom. That you cheated on Dad and left him without paying anything, as you had promised. Until then, I hadn't asked much about the divorce, but I finally understood everything. It was all your fault. I see. I finally understood why he was so angry. If this is true, any kid would be mad. But my ex-husband lied to Kevin and unbelievably instigated Kevin. When I heard this, anger surged within me. It's a nuisance for him to come back into my life now, especially since we've already divorced. But Kevin being deceived like this is also pitiful. From my perspective, he's just a stranger, but I couldn't just leave him alone, saying it's not my concern. I remarried after that and now have children with my current husband. So, as a parent with children, I thought I should do the bare minimum. First, I decided to tell him the truth. He's 16 now, so it should be fine to discuss adult matters. Kevin, everything I'm about to tell you is the truth. If you want proof, I'll do a DNA test or anything else you need. Can you listen to what I have to tell you for now? Yeah. I told Kevin that we're not biologically related and that I divorced his father over 10 years ago. At first, Kevin was hesitant to believe what he heard, but as I disclosed one fact after another, he gradually began to show signs of agitation. I see. I'm sorry I didn't say anything because I thought it would be better to hear it from him. But he was cheating, huh? As I heard that, my mother-in-law's tone dropped. When I told her all the facts, my mother-in-law let out an angry cry over the phone. I see, it all makes sense now. I was not informed about the birth because he had a child with his affair partner. He brought Kevin over, but I was told not to contact you because you didn't want to see anyone right after giving birth. Some people experience mental instability, and some even suffer from mental illness, so I quietly left you alone. And when I heard the reason for the divorce, I felt sorry, but I couldn't contact you. Is that so? But now Kevin occasionally comes to visit, and it makes me happy. Even if he might be the child born out of an affair, he's not at fault. So I intend to support him as his ally in the future. As expected of you, I feel relieved. Actually, I called you to ask a favor about Kevin. Could you and Father raise Kevin together? Of course, Kevin worked so hard to earn money from his part-time job for it to be used on gambling. I think I need to have a serious talk with him about that. I'll leave that to you, but I think Kevin is desperately wasting his future trying to support his father. So please let him live without restraints with you and his grandfather. My mother-in-law assured me that she would take care of it. Kevin and thus Kevin's situation was resolved. Now it's my ex-husband's turn. I decided to contact him and meet him later. I was angry because he had lied to me. When I arrived at the cave at the appointed time and saw my ex-husband, he looked shabby compared to before. It's rare for you to contact me, and damn, you look older. Anyway, what about Kevin? So, you already know. Then let's get straight to the point. Why did you get Kevin to call me? What's your intention? I just got desperate. I've been really short on cash lately. I also got caught for fraud at my previous job and had to quit. Kevin's mother suddenly disappeared, and many things are disappearing from my sight. But my mom and Kevin still think I'm going to work. It's easy to fool them as long as I look sorry. Kevin is your son, isn't he? Don't you feel anything about that? He's a good son who gives me money. You won't find a more filial son than him. Oh, I see. But I feel relieved since you said those things in front of them, huh? 3 people stood up from the table behind me and came over to our table. Huh? What's going on? You're really the worst. We heard everything just now. Even at your age, your hopeless personality hasn't changed. It's over for you. It was my mother-in-law, my aunt-in-law, and Kevin. To convince everyone, it was necessary for them to see his true nature with their own eyes. My ex-husband started to get noticeably flustered and couldn't find the right words. Being reproached by everyone, my ex-husband kept glancing at me, seeming to seek help. But even if you make that face, it won't work. Accept everything you've done and realize what a despicable scumbag you've been. And so this incident came to a close. Since then, my ex-husband has been criticized by my mother-in-law, aunt-in-law, and then father-in-law. He was forced to get a job. He got a job at a construction site through my father-in-law's connections. My father-in-law said he sent him off to whip him back into shape. And then my father-in-law also instructed the company to deduct child support from his salary. As child support, that money is now going to cover Kevin's tuition fees and other school expenses. Since then, Kevin has been living with his grandma. I'm completely fed up with my ex-husband, but apparently, he's been treating my mother-in-law and father-in-law kindly now. Kevin always seems like such a kind child now. No matter what, I'm still not sure if the actions I took this time were the right ones, but things have definitely improved from before. I sincerely wish for Kevin to be happy. As my mother-in-law said, the child born into this world bears no guilt.